Some plants are way more than just pretty flowers. They're like living history books. And today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating ones, the small yellow lady slipper. This orchid is an absolute marvel, not just of botany, but of survival and ancient knowledge. So, let's get right into it. So you look at this thing and you think, wow, that's so delicate, right? But don't let its looks fool you. This orchid is a powerhouse, a true architect of its own world. What you can't see under the soil is this incredible spreading root system. It's called a rhizome, and it creates this amazing network that literally holds the ground together in the fragile ravines and floodplains where it lives. It's basically a silent guardian of the entire ecosystem. Okay, and before we dive any deeper, we have to get something really important out of the way. This is a big one. Everything we're talking about here is for educational purposes only. This is absolutely not medical advice. Please, you have to consult with a professional healthcare provider or a certified botanist before you even think about handling or especially consuming any of the plants we mention. All right, so to really get this orchid, we've got to understand its home turf. And let me tell you, it's a super specific, fragile world, one that this little plant both lives in and helps build.
Yeah, this isn't a plant you're just going to find in any old backyard. It's incredibly picky. It needs these specific places called calcareous fens and swamps, where the groundwater is just loaded with calcium and magnesium. But the really wild part? It's what happens underground. The seeds are like dust. They have zero food packed inside them. So how do they grow? They have to form this partnership, this symbiotic relationship with a very specific underground fungus to even have a chance at germinating and getting fed. It's this incredibly delicate dance, and it's exactly why this orchid is in so much trouble in so many places.
So it's super picky about where it lives, and it's just as specific in how it's built. And, learning to read its anatomy is absolutely crucial. Why? Because it has a bunch of close cousins and even a few very dangerous lookalikes out there. Okay, check this out. This illustration really lays it all out for us. You can see those broad, veiny leaves kind of hugging the stem. But the real secret to its survival, its long-term game plan, is hidden. It's underground. Remember that rhizome we talked about? That's it. It's this horizontal stem that lets the plant just spread out, anchor itself, and come back year after year. And here's the flower, and oh man, this is just pure genius. That little slipper, that pouch-like lip. It's not just for looks, not at all. It is a brilliant, highly evolved trap for pollinators, mostly little bees. The bee crawls in, gets a bit stuck, and discovers the only way out is a one-way street right past the reproductive parts of the flower. Boom, pollination guaranteed. It's just a masterpiece of engineering. So, the big question is, how do you know for sure that you're looking at our variety, the moccasin? Well, think of this chart as your personal field guide. It's not just one thing, it's the combination of features that gives it away. First, look for a smaller pouch, and it should be kind of glossy. Then, get in close. You should smell this amazing, intense vanilla scent, not the musky, pungent smell of its bigger cousin. And for the final clue, check out the little leaf at the base of the flower, the bract. It should be totally smooth, or as botanists say, glabrous. No hairs. Trust me, these little details make all the difference. Okay, now we're going to pivot. We've talked about the science, but now let's get into this plant's incredible human story. Because long before any Western botanists showed up with their notebooks, the indigenous peoples of North America already knew this plant's power, and they understood it on a level we're only just beginning to appreciate. I mean, this was a central part of their pharmacopoeia. You had the Cherokee using infusions from the root for almost everything. From nerve pain to stomach cramps to parasites. The Iroquois zeroed in on its amazing effects on the nervous system. The Ojibwa would make a poultice for inflammations. And then you have the Menominee, for whom this plant went beyond just medicine. It was sacred. It was a key to inducing supernatural dreams. But here's the twist. The plant had a dangerous secret. That same root, the one that was such a powerful medicine, was also toxic if you ate it fresh. So you can imagine, this was a huge problem, especially when food was scarce. But the solution they came up with? Wow. It shows this truly remarkable, deep understanding of chemistry. What they did was it's pure biochemical genius. They'd soak the roots in a mix of water and hardwood ash, which is basically lye. This alkaline bath would break down the toxic compounds. Then they'd rinse the roots over and over again in fresh water to wash everything out. Finally, they'd boil them. And what started as a poison was transformed into a life-saving food. something like a starchy potato. This isn't just simple folklore, this is advanced chemistry passed down for generations.
And you know what? That incredible indigenous knowledge didn't just vanish. As European settlers began moving across the continent, they saw what was working. They learned from the local tribes and started to incorporate these powerful remedies into their own frontier medicine. Fast forward to the 19th century, and a group of doctors known as the Eclectics gave it a new nickname, American Valerian. Now, you have to remember, this was a time when doctors were handing out opium for everything, which was incredibly addictive. They saw lady's slipper as a godsend, a gentle, non-addictive way to calm the nervous system. It pretty much became known simply as nerve root. And doctors at the time, guys like Harvey Wickes-Felter, were prescribing it for a whole range of issues, all tied back to the nervous system. Couldn't sleep, restless, nerve pain, this was their go-to. And get this, they were even using it for really serious mental health struggles like depression and despondency, especially for things they had almost no other answers for. It was a vital tool in their kit. But that's not where the story ends. We have to bring it to the present day, because right now, this incredible plant, with all this history wrapped up in it, is facing a whole new set of threats that could wipe it out for good. The biggest enemy? Habitat destruction. We drain its home, those special wetlands for farms and buildings, and that's just game over for the orchid. But that's not all. It's also getting hammered by illegal poaching for gardens and herbal medicine. It's being choked out by invasive plants. Its water supply gets messed up by logging and construction. And to top it all off, deer love to eat it. It's literally fighting for its life on all sides.
And the danger isn't just to the plant itself, there's a human danger, a case of mistaken identity that can be fatal. This plant right here, false hellebore, often grows in the same kind of wet places, but it is seriously, dangerously toxic. It's packed with alkaloids that can cause severe poisoning. You have to know the difference. Look at the leaves. False hellebore has these big, pleated leaves, and the flowers are just clusters of little star-shaped things, nothing at all like the orchid's one-of-a-kind pouch.
And this is what's so wild about its conservation status. If you look at the big picture, globally, the species seems fine. It's considered secure because it has such a wide range. But the moment you zoom in, the story completely changes. You look at specific states or provinces and it's critically endangered, or even completely gone. It's a stark reminder that conservation isn't some abstract global thing. It's a local fight, town by town, wetland by wetland.
And really, this life cycle just puts it all into perspective. From that tiny seed that can't even sprout without its fungus friend, to the years and years it takes to grow up, to needing just the right bee to come along. Every single step is this fragile, intricate dance. You break just one link in that chain, and the whole population can just collapse. So that's where we are. This one little orchid, it's an ecosystem engineer, it's a living library of medicine, and it's a survivor against all odds. It holds centuries of human and natural history in its very being. So the question really is for us. Are we going to be the generation that lets that chain break for good? Or are we going to be the ones who step up and make sure its story gets to continue?